Welcome to the 12th session of Secrets of Spirituality. In the previous session, I had come up to the third sentence which Mukundur Swami had told and which was written in the book Yekdagella Aite. Let me start with the fourth sentence now. Kautuka andre kautuka, illa andre yenu illa. This is equivalent to the Einstein's word, where Einstein had told once that if you look at this life, everything can be seen as a miracle. If you don't see it that way, then everything can be normal. Now, Mukunda Swami never would have known Einstein's quotation. Now, still, whatever Mukunda Swami told in Kannada is equivalent to whatever Einstein told in English. Kautuka andre kautuka, illa andre enu illa. That means, if you think that it is wonderful, it is really wonderful. If you think that it is marvelous, it is really marvelous. If you think that everything is great, everything is really great. And if you don't think that way, then there is nothing there. I have been telling this example of a tree being seen by so many people. If a carpenter looks at a tree, carpenter thinks as if how much of rate it will have and what type of furniture he can make it. If an Ayurveda expert looks at a tree, he will see as if the root will be useful for what type of medicine, leaves will be useful for what type of medicine, or even the fruits and flowers and the bark, in what way they can be used for medicine. If a timber merchant looks at the tree, he may think how many quintals or tons of wood I will be getting out of this particular tree when it is cut. If a traveler is walking along, the traveler can sit below the tree and the traveler can think of the tree as it is giving a shade to him. If a hungry person comes over there, if he looks at the tree, the hungry person can think that the fruits of the tree will satiate his hunger. If some group of children come over there, these children can climb over the tree and they can play there and they can think that tree is a very good place for them to climb and play. Now, if a saint comes over there, saint may think about the tree as if there can be a small platform over there and he can clean the area and he can sit there for meditation. If a yogi comes over there, he can look at a tree and he can think what a wonderful creation of God, where it is taking water from the soil and it is taking air from the atmosphere, and through the sunlight, through the photosynthesis, in what way the tree has grown and in what way it has given shelter to the birds, in what way it is yielding fruits as food to the animals, and what a great way or what a great creation of God or of nature. Isn't it? This way, the tree remains a tree. The tree is not bothered about anybody's opinion about it, right? But if you look at the tree in these many angles, kautuka andre kautuka, illa andre yenu illa. If you look at the tree in this angle, if you think that it is wonderful, it is wonderful. Otherwise, nothing is there. If you think that it is marvelous, it is marvelous. Otherwise, nothing is there. And you observe your own body. If you think that your body is wonderful, your body is marvelous, then it is that way. Otherwise, body is a body. Now, when a living body is seen by so many people, even they may develop the same type of mentality in whichever way their culture is. If a small chick is seen, The small chick can be seen by a philosopher or a yogi or a rishi that from an egg, how come that protein, albumin joined together, and how come it became a living body, moving body, flying body, singing body? What a great wonder it is. Now, if the same chick is seen by a hunter, the hunter may see, if I cut this particular bird and if I make some food item out of it, how delicious it would be. Now, it is the same living body which is seen by two different people of different mindset in two different ways. For somebody, it can be a wonderful life. For somebody, it can be a meal on his dinner table or lunch table. Kautka andre kautka, illa andre yenu illa. Coming to the fifth sentence, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯರಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದೆ ಕೈ, ಕೆಟ್ಟವರಿಗೆ ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದೆ ಕೈ. For the good people, good deeds are being done by the same hand. For the bad people, the bad thing is done by the same hand. It is up to the person to use the hand for whatever purpose. In the same way, in the Rudra Prashna, in the Yajurveda, there is a mantra that says, Ayam me hastaha Bhagavan, Ayam me hastaha Bhagavataraha. This hand is God. This hand is more powerful than God. This I had told you earlier also. Everyone has those two hands. These two hands can be utilized for embracing a child also, or the same two hands can be utilized to choke somebody's throat also. A murderer also will use his own hands to kill somebody. At the same time, a skillful person will use the same hands for doing some skillful, marvelous art. Even for helping also the same hand is utilized. Even for beating also the same hand is utilized. It is up to the person to make use of these resources based on their mindset or based on their culture. ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದೆ ಕೈ, ಕೆಟ್ಟವರಿಗೆ ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದೆ ಕೈ. Coming to the sixth one, ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ಸಹವಾಸ ಇಳ್ಳೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪವಾಸ. ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ಸಹವಾಸ ಇರುಳೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪವಾಸ means friendship with the sage and whole night starving. Belagare Krishna Shastri used to wander along with this Mukundur Swami always. And Mukundur Swami used to say that if you stay with me, what will you get? But you should read that book. In that book, Mukundur Swami also had manifested many miracles. I had visited a particular place, the hillock on which Mukundur Swami used to live. And there is an incident that is narrated in this particular book. When Mukundur Swami was there on the hill, some other people, villagers from far off place, came to visit Mukundur Swami. It was dazzling sunlight there, very hot, and these people to meet Mukundur Swami. Mukundur Swami told them, you have come to meet me, now I have nothing to give you. What shall I give you? These people thought it is a hill full of stones and it is a very hot sun. What they will get there? They were thinking. Now, Mukundur Swami suddenly called some name simply. When he called some name, one rabbit came out from somewhere. When that rabbit came out from somewhere, this Mukundur Swami told to that rabbit, show them the place of food. And Mukundur Swami told these villagers, you go behind him, he will show you the food. Now these people were thinking, a rabbit is going to show a path. Still, they smiled at Swami and they went behind the rabbit. The rabbit jumped here and there and it went to a particular corner. At the corner, on top of a rock, there were tender coconuts and there were watermelon fruits. Now these people are thinking, in this hill, in this dazzling sun, there is nothing here except these rocks. How come tender coconut came here? And how come the watermelon fruit came here? Somehow they took all that. Then they came back to Swami and they asked him, how come here the tender coconut and watermelon fruit is there? And how come the rabbit showed us the path? Now Mukundra Swami simply laughed and told, ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದವನು ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. The one who is a giver, wherever it is required, he will give. He was referring to God. Mukundra Swami was a God-realized Avadhuta. There are many such incidents. You can read that particular book and you will appreciate. But here he says, Sanyasi Savasa Illala Upvasa. Means if you remain with the saint will not have any comforts of the kitchen and he will not have many dishes for you to give, and whole night you may have to starve. Those who go to meet the holy monks, they will not expect any delicious meal there, or they will not expect any comfortable stay there. Whenever you want to meet a holy monk, you should not go there expecting a lavish life, or expecting a comfortable treatment, or expecting a sumptuous meal. That way you can go to a 3-star hotel or a 5-star hotel. You need not go to visit a holy monk. But ironically, the so-called holy monks nowadays are living a lavish lifestyle itself, which is a shame on them. Let me come to the 7th sentence. Sidbandre Rudra Tanagadre Shiva. The meaning in English is, if somebody becomes angry, he is called Rudra. If somebody becomes cool, he is called Shiva. Now it is the same person is called as Rudra also, Shiva also, right? It is the same God who is called as Rudra also, Shiva also. Rudam Dravayati iti Rudraha is one meaning. Shete iti Shivaha is another meaning. Both are referring to the same person. Which means, if somebody becomes angry, he can behave like Rudra. If somebody becomes happy, he can behave like Shiva. Person, up to the situation, up to the mindsets of the person in that situation. Now the 8th sentence, Satmele enta samadhi, iddagle samadhi agbeku. This is what I have been telling when I was discussing about the definition of samadhi. Mukundra Swami funnily says, Satmele enta samadhi. What is the meaning of samadhi after you die? Iddagle samadhi agbeku. Means when you are living, you should have experienced samadhi. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. What is meant there? Now the 9th pearl speech, I should say Nudi Muttu, speech which is like a pearl of Mukundur Swami. Devanurige ee uru 10 ಮೈಲಿ ದೂರ ಅಂದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ, ಈ ಊರಿಗೆ ದೇವನೂರು 10 ಮೈಲಿ ದೂರ ಅಂದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ. In fact, wherever Mukundra Swami stayed, that was called Maragondanhalli. From that place, there was one more village called Devanuru. And from Devanuru to Maragondanhalli, people used to come and go. And whenever people used to come, he used to say, oh, Devanurin Bandra, Devanurin Bandbitra. Devanuru in English means God's village. Deva Uru, Devana Uru means God's village or God's town, we should say. This is a real village that exists near Banavara. The name is called Devanuru. But philosophically, again we can interpret it as God's town or God's village. Now when somebody from Devanuru comes to meet him, he would casually laugh and say, "Oh, Devnurin bandbitri." That means you came from God's village, you came from God's town. But they will say, "Illa illa, now Devnurinda bandiddu." They will say, "No, we came from Devnuru." The name of their village is Devnuru. They will not understand the inner meaning of the word Devnuru, means God's own village. So he used to say, Devnurige ee uru 10 maili dura andru onde, ee urige Devnuru 10 maili dura andru onde. That means from this village to Devnuru, it is 10 miles. That is also one and the same as to this village, Devnuru is 10 miles away. He was actually referring to the Kundalini Yoga. Now, in between Mooladhara and Sahasrara, he was referring it as 10 miles. Philosophically, metaphorically, he was mentioning from Mooladhara to Sahasrara, if you say 10 miles, that is also same. Or from Sahasrara to Mooladhara, it is 10 miles, that is also same. Which means, from the egoistic existence to the divine existence, if you say it is 10 miles, it is the same distance. The same distance is from the divine existence to the egoistic existence. In fact, it is the direction in which you move makes that difference. That was the hidden meaning of this sentence. Whether you move from Mooladhara to Sahasrara or you move from Sahasrara to Mooladhara, it is the travel that is making a difference. It is not the distance that is making a difference. It is the direction that is making a difference. It is not the distance that is making a difference. But this sentence which he tells, the common villagers will not understand. He is actually mentioning the process of Kundalini Yoga. The 10th sentence he said in the book, Sullandre ade mailge, sumkidre ade madi. This was a ridiculous statement for the Karmatha Brahmins who have been practicing something called Madi. Madi means this Karmatha Brahmins, they take bath twice or thrice in a day and they keep on cleaning themselves and they behave as if they are more clean than others. So looking at them, he used to say, Sullu andre ade mailige, sum kedre ade madi. Means, if you tell lie, then that itself is dirtiness. If you remain silent, then that itself is cleanliness. If you tell a lie, that itself is dirtiness. If you remain silent, that itself is means only when you speak, no? When you speak, either you will speak truth or will you speak lie. Both will have their own counter effects. So it's better if you remain silent than you are clean. This way he used to ridicule the people who used to practice Madi and Mailige. They used to say that by taking bath they have become clean, and those who have not taken bath, those who are normal living people, they are all dirty. That was the separation which these Karmatha Brahmins or fundamentalist Brahmins used to behave. And always these fundamentalist Brahmins used to have this arrogance that they are more cleaner than the other people. Now, who is clean, who is unclean? You should remember the dialogue which happened between Adi Shankara and Chandala. That life story of Shankara, you read, you will understand. There's a special stotra written by Adi Shankara called Manisha Panchakam, where what is dirty, what is clean is discussed heavily. The 11th sentence is, avnige yede madu andre, avnige jaga madu ambo matu. Generally in Kannada, yede madu means preparing some food and preparing it very meticulously, very religiously, and then offering it to God. That is called yede in Kannada. After offering it to God, then consuming it as prasada. Now again, Mukundra Swami ridiculed, saying, avnige yede madu andre, avnige jaga madu ambo matu. That means for him, when you do this yede or when you offer this prasada, Yede in Kannada also means space. This word yede has two meanings. One is that prasada, one is space. So he says, it is not that you are showing prasada to him and then you consuming. Avnige yede madu andre, when you make space for him, that means you actually make space for him. Jaga also means space, yede also means space. So Mukundra Swami says, don't simply prepare some food and show it to God and you eat. Not that way. Actually, you make space for God within you. So who says Mukundra Swami is not a great philosopher or not a great scholar? He has told very simple sentences which contain much bigger meanings. Even though these sentences are in Gramya Kannada. Even though these sentences are in Kannada of village flavor. They have high-level philosophical meanings. Sentence. Mukundra Swamigale, current Shiva Samudraddu ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಇರೋದೇ. When people used to call him as Mukundra Swami, he used to say that I am not just Mukundra Swami, all are Mukundra Swami only. He used to give this example, current Shiva Samudraddu ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಇರೋದೇ. There is a place in Karnataka state where there is a power plant. And Kaveri water used to flow down from there. There are two waterfalls there, Gaganachukki, Bharachukki. Nearer to that, there is this power plant. And from that power plant, electrical power used to get generated. And at that time, it used to get circulated throughout the state. So, he used to say, current Shiva Samudraddu ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಇರೋದೇ. In that place, Shivana Samudra, whatever electric current is generated, that is being circulated all over the state. Now, what is the meaning here? Current Shiva Samudraddu. Shiva Samudra means the sea of God. Samudra means sea, Shiva means God. That means from the sea of God, whatever current is produced, that is everywhere. Actually, he is referring to prana. Sea of God means this body itself, blood itself is a sea there. And the blood is rushing in and out from the heart. And in the body, prana is being produced. So he says, this prana is ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಇರೋದೇ. It is there inside everyone. In that way, everyone is Mukundra Swami, not just me. He was simply saying that in whatever way I have realized the self within me, you also can realize the self within you. Because the power of God is within you. That is what here meant as current Shiva Samudraddu ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಇರೋದೇ. The 13th sentence is, ಮುದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಊಟ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸಿದ್ದಪ್ಪನಂತ ದೇವರಿಲ್ಲ. He is referring to ragi mudde here, ragi ball. This preparation of the ragi ball is a great skill, where they put this ragi flour into water and into the water which is boiling, and they wait until this dough of the ragi or the flour of ragi will develop a consistency along with an aromatic flavor. And when there is enough consistency, they keep it down, and actually in the villages, they put one cloth around the particular vessel and they keep it in between their 2 feet, and they take one wooden rod and they use this wooden rod to gradually mash this particular ragi flour completely. And when it is hot itself, either these ladies or gents, they'll put their hands into a water vessel, and when the hand is slightly cool, the same hand they will put it into that hot ragi flour which is now cooked, and they make a ragi ball out of it. And for that ragi ball, when it is very hot, they will have particular type of saru or sambaru along with the curry, and then they taste it. It is very good for digestion. Ragi is having lot of minerals within it. It is very easy to digest also. But look at the way in which they prepare ragi ball. It's a highly skilled process. When it is hot itself, they handle that vessel. That way, whoever invented ragi mudde, he or she should be given Nobel Prize. Whoever invented jolada roti, he or she should be given Nobel Prize. Whoever invented the red boiled rice, he or she should be given Nobel Prize. Whoever invented idli, he or she should be given double Nobel Prize. Because in the idli and the sambar and the chutney, proteins are there, minerals are there, carbohydrates are there. Everything is there. Idli, sambar, chutney is a complete nutritious meal. Black gram dal, protein is there, rice, carbohydrate is there, and when it is fermented overnight, it becomes so smooth, easy to digest. And then you have sambar, you will have vegetables there, and you will have chutney, you will have nutritions there, minerals, vitamins, everything is there. Now Mukundur Swami says, Mudde anta uta illa, Siddhapnanta devrilla. There is no meal like ragi mudde and there is no god like Siddhappa. What is the meaning of Siddhappa? Siddha Appa. Siddha means ready. The one who is ready. That means the one who is ready to get into Samadhi. That is when they were called as Siddha. Siddha means ready. So, mudde anta uta illa, siddhapnanta devrilla means one who has realized his own self, the God realized person. He himself is an embodiment of God, or she herself is an embodiment of God. 14th sentence he says, Sattu hogodunte, adu endendigu irodu. Somebody came to Mukundur Swami and told, avraro satodru. Somebody told to Mukundur Swami that somebody died. When they told somebody died, then Mukundur Swami says as a pun, Sattu hogodunte. Adu endendigu irodu. Now he is mentioning about Sat. Sat Chit Ananda. Somebody says in Kannada, Aur Satodru. Sattu hodru means he died and went. That is the meaning. But Mukundur Swami says, Sattu hogodunte. Can Sat Chit Ananda, can Sat go? Sat itself is the self. Mukundur Swami says funnily, can it go? That is always everlasting. Adu endendigu irodu. This Sat Chit Ananda is everlasting. How it can go? But the people who tell him that somebody died, they will not understand whatever Mukundur Swami is telling back to them. He answers highly philosophically. The 15th sentence he says, Yaar ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸುಸ್ತಾಗೋಗಂಟ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರೇ ಗೆದ್ದೋರು. This he told when Belagara Krishna Shastri and Mukundur Swami were together climbing a hill. Mukundur Swami was much more older than Belagara Krishna Shastri. But Belagara Krishna Shastri could not walk in the same speed as Mukundur Swami. So Swami climbed the hill much before Belagara Krishna Shastri. After some time, Belagara Krishna Shastri came there. Belagara Krishna Shastri was exhausted. When he was exhausted, then Mukundur Swami says, you are exhausted now, means you have done a lot of work. That means you are the winner. ಯಾರು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸುಸ್ತಾಗೋಗಂಟ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರೇ ಗೆದ್ದೋರು. Now, because Mukundur Swami reached the top of the hill first, now people may say that Swami is first now. Instead, Swami says, I am not exhausted. Belagara Krishna Shastri is exhausted. Whoever is exhausted, it means that they have worked a lot. Whoever has worked a lot, they themselves the winners. 16th sentence. Puchar Santyage Tale Netgiddone Dadda. In the group of mad people, whoever has his head all right, he himself is a fool. I used to keep on telling one particular proverb ಬೆತ್ತಲೆ ಜನ ಓಡಾಡುವರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡವರೇ ಮುಟ್ಟಾಡ್ರು. In the land where naked people are traveling or walking around, in the town or village where people are walking around naked, whoever is wearing clothes at that time, he himself is called as a fool. In another way, Mukundur Swami says, Huchar Santega Talanetgidonim Dada. That means whoever is all right among the mad people, all these mad people will call him as fool. So it is better that whoever has a normal intellectual ability, he should not be in the middle of the mad people. 17th sentence is Bandonadre Hogtane, Ironu Hogalla. This he told when Belagara Krishna Shastri himself had a serious sickness and he was bedridden. When he was bedridden, actually Mukundur Swami used to always mention plants and flowers and trees in the masculine and feminine gender. He never used to refer to the objects in the neuter gender. If you read that book, you will come to know that around his graveyard, he used to have a small garden where he used to have flowering plants. And when he used to flower these plants, he used to talk to the plants. Very funnily, he used to talk. Oh, yenava chanagidiye, maitumba o mutkadidiye. He used to talk to the flowering plant. He used to say, what my mother, you are looking so beautiful. Throughout your body, you are wearing flowers. He was talking this way to a flowering plant. And he always used to put some more water to some other plant. And he used to say, Tagolava chanag neer kudi, sanakag bitidiye. He used to tell to some other plant, oh, my mother, you have become so weak. Take some more water, drink some more water. You have become really so weak. This way, he used to refer to everything in the feminine gender, in the masculine gender. He never used to use a neuter gender. Now he is referring to the disease which has come to Belagara Krishna Shastri, and he is saying, Bandonadra Voktane, Iron Vogalla. If the disease has come to you from somewhere, he is referring in a masculine gender to the disease. If he has come to you from somewhere, anyhow he'll go. Whoever is already here will not go. What does it mean? Disease has come from somewhere, disease will go. Whoever is in the body here, that is the self, he will not go. This is a metaphysical statement which Mukundur Swami told. Now in the same context, he told the 18th sentence, Areke madar mayage 6 tingaladru irtaite. Here he is referring neuter gender. He says, you should not really nurture the disease. If you nurture the disease will not go. Because when you nurture, when you take care of the disease will feel, I'm very comfortable, he's taking care of me, and the disease will remain there. So he says, you will have to ignore all these diseases. Some body will develop immunity and the disease will go away. So he says, if you take care of the disease will remain inside your body even for the next 6 months. 19th sentence. ಮೈಗೆ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಳ್ಳಾಗ ಉಳ್ಳಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಅಂಟುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂಟದು. It is as if applying oil onto the body and rolling over the sand. When you apply oil onto the body and roll over the sand, your complete body will not get smeared by the sand. Wherever the oil comes in contact with the sand, that sand will remain there. So that way, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಅಂಟುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂಟೋದು. Whatever sticks to your body, only that much sticks. That means he is referring to the normal lifestyle where whatever you get clinged on to, only that will get clinged on to you. Now it is your choice to get it clinged on to. When you apply oil over yourself and when you roll over the sand, both are your own decisions. To apply oil over your body and to roll over the sand. Now you should not blame the sand or the oil that sand is right now smeared in your body because it was your own choice. So he says, that means it is you who are clinging on to this. 20th sentence. ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳನ್ನೇ ಕೂಡ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಹಂಗೆ ಕೂಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಸಂಗಮ ಅನ್ನೋದು. There is a place called Kudala Sangama in Karnataka state. That Kudala Sangama is famous for the stay of Bhakti Bhandari Basavanna. I used to keep on telling to my Lingayat friends or to all my yoga students that Lokakobbane Anna Basavanna, Lokakobbale Akka Mahadevi Akka, Lokakobbane Ayya Kudala Sangayya. The only one big brother Basavanna, the only one big sister Mahadevi Akka, the only one Ayya or the father or the Lord Kudala Sangayya, the God. Now that Kudala Sangama is famous for Basavanna. Here Mukundar Swami refers in a slightly different way. ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳನ್ನೇ ಕೂಡಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಕೂಡಲಿ means joining. ಹಂಗೆ ಕೂಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಸಂಗಮ ಅನ್ನೋದು. When two rivers are joining, that itself is called Sangama or union. He is referring to the Ajna Chakra where Ida and Pingala, two rivers are joining. In the body there are 7 chakras and 3 main nadis. At the center it is Sushumna, at the left and right it is Ida and Pingala. Now he is referring to the system of meditation where Ida and Pingala are joining at Ajna Chakra. Later on, together they are moving up to Sahasrara Chakra as a single river. For the same Sushumna Nadi, in the Lalita Sahasranama Stotram, it is referred as Bisatantu. Bisatantu Taniyasi is one name given to the Divine Mother in the Lalita Sahasranama Stotram. So here Mukundur Swami says in a metaphysical way, ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳನ್ನೇ ಕೂಡ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಹಂಗೆ ಕೂಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಸಂಗಮ ಅನ್ನೋದು. Only when these two rivers join, that is called as Kudali, and when they join, that itself is called Sangama. He is referring to the yoga, where when Ida and Pingala are joining, left and right hemispheres of the brain are in unison, and that is when the energy flows till Sahasrara, and person will have an experience of union or yoga. That itself is referred as Sangama here. 21st sentence. Deva, Jiva. ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಗ, ಒಂದು ಜಂಗಮ. ಒಂದು ಒಳಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಹೊರಗೆ. Is referring Deva, Jiva. God and life. ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಗ, ಒಂದು ಜಂಗಮ. One is linga, one is jangama. Linga means Linam Gamayati Iti Lingam. Linam Gamayati Iti means all that what is there, in whichever it is going to merge later, that itself is called Linga. Linga does not mean a simple stone structure. The simple stone structure which is used for worship can be called as Ishtalinga. Then gradually Ishtalinga should gradually lead to a Pranalinga. Pranalinga should gradually lead to Bhavalinga. Initially, you will worship a linga, either a Shivalinga or an Ishtalinga. Ishtalinga can be on your palm, or Shivalinga can be in a temple, in the sanctum sanctorum. But gradually, by the worship of the external linga or Ishtalinga, gradually you should understand the Pranalinga, or the one which is keeping your body alive. Gradually, by means of the realization of Pranalinga, you should gradually understand the Bhavalinga. That Bhavalinga means you are that. You should develop the feeling that you are part of the divinity. If that does not happen, then there is no point in any worship as such. So he says, Deva, Jiva. One linga, one jangama. One is linga, the other one is jangama. Jangama means the moving one. In general, in the Veerashaiva system, they call it as Guru Linga Jangama. Guru Linga Jangama. Guru will give the linga diksha. But a sadhu is called as a jangama. So, one linga, one jangama. The one who is moving around, teaching this sacred spirituality, he is called as jangama. Now he further says, one olage, one horage. One is inside, one is outside. Now, Ishtalinga will become Pranalinga, Pranalinga will become Bhavalinga through this particular practice. When there is Bhavalinga realized, then that is inside. But Jangama keeps on moving from village to village, town to town, teaching this system of realization to the other unrealized ones. Now he is moving outside, whereas this is moving inside. The godly movement is happening inside, and the jiva, the person who is living, is moving outside. Ondu olage, ondu horage. The 22nd sentence, ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ವೇದಾಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ. Vedanta means Veda Anta. That is called Upanishads. Veda is divided into 4 parts. Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. Samhita is part of the Stuti or Gadya, Padya. Samhita is basically poetry part. Brahmana is basically prose part. And Aranyaka is basically the dialogue between saints and their disciples in the forest. And Upanishad is basically the revelation of self-realization. So in general, Upanishads are called as Veda Anta, end of the Veda. That is called Vedanta. So Swami says, Hediddella Vedanta, whatever is spoken is Vedanta. Madiddella Siddhanta, whatever is done is Siddha Anta. I have already told you about what is Siddha. Who is Siddha? Siddha means one who is ready. Siddha Anta means what? Whoever is ready for this particular practice, and the culmination of that particular practice is nothing but self-realization. So, if you do practically, then it is called Siddhanta. If you speak theoretically, that is called Vedanta. Now, in the other way, Swami says, whatever is spoken is Vedanta. Whatever is done is Siddhanta. Means in his life he did this only, no. Whatever Mukundara Swami did was Siddhanta. Whatever he spoke was Vedanta. So he is actually referring to his own life. Whatever I spoke, all that was Vedanta. Whatever I did, all that was Siddhanta. He was a yogi also. He was a Vedanti also. He was a practitioner also. He was a theoretician also. He was both. You remember the story of Sadashiva Brahmendra? He was also the same. He was a Vedanti also. He was a yogi also. So, for Sadashiva Brahmendra also we should say that whatever he spoke was Vedanta and whatever he did was Siddhanta. Coming to the last slide in which I have summarized. I am unable to see the upper portion. It should move up now. Yeah, it has moved up. ಒಂದು ಗಂಡು ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಣು, ಗಂಡೊಂದು ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣೊಂದು ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ, ತಿರುಳೊಂದೇ, ಒಂದು ಪುರುಷ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ, ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ವಿಗ್ರಹ ಒಂದು ಮೆರೆಯೋ ವಿಗ್ರಹ. He is simply referring to this human life, one male, one female. Male is one outer rind of a fruit, female is one outer rind of a fruit, but the essence inside is one. One is Purusha, one is Prakriti. One is the Mula Vigraha, means the statue which is inside the Sanctum Sanctorum. Undu Meryo Vigraha means, we call it as Utsava Murti, where they keep one more statue on a big chariot or Ratha, and they will perform one festival called Rathotsava, where they will put one particular statue in a big tall Ratha and they pull that ratha, pull the chariot around the temple. So there will be, in general, two statues. One statue will be inside the sanctum sanctorum. The other statue, once in a year, will go around the temple. So he says, ಒಂದು ಗಂಡು ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಣು. The essence of life is one male and one female, both are outer rims. Who puts the desires into both of them? He is the one who is inside both of them. He puts the desires into both of them, and by means of their own desires, he only produces the product inside the lady. So then he says, ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ವಿಗ್ರಹ, ಒಂದು ಮೆರೆಯೋ ವಿಗ್ರಹ, ಒಂದು ಪುರುಷ, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ. One is that statue which is inside the sanctum sanctorum. He is referring to the male body. And then he is referring to the female body. One Meriyo Vigraha means the lady is going around the temple that way. Which means only the lady or the woman is depicted as if she is giving rise to a life form or a body. But actually, she will not be producing the body inside her own body on her own. Without the male's contact, the female will not become pregnant at all. But the prominence is always given to the female body as if she is delivering the baby. That is right. She is holding the baby for 9 months inside her womb and she is going to deliver. But without the male's contact, how she will actually conceive also? That is why he says, ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ವಿಗ್ರಹ, ಒಂದು ಮೆರೆಯೋ ವಿಗ್ರಹ. That means the one who proclaims herself as the mother, that is called Meriyo Vigraha, the one which is exhibiting its own producing ability. Whereas the Mula Vigraha, he mentions it to the man who made her pregnant. He will not say openly that I made her pregnant, right? Only when the pregnant lady becomes pregnant, she will appreciate her that she is a pregnant. When she delivers a baby also, she will appreciate her that she delivered a baby. But who was the cause for it? People will not appreciate that fellow as such, right? That is why he says, ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ವಿಗ್ರಹ, ಒಂದು ಮೆರೆಯೋ ವಿಗ್ರಹ. The 24th sentence, ರಾಮಾಣ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. ರಾಮಾಣ್ಯ, he says it is Ramayana. ರಾಮಾಣ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. Means, Ramayana is not samanya. Ramayana is not common. Which means what? Ramayana is uncommon. Ramayana is special. Ramayana is really very, very special. The story of Ramayana is the story of yoga. Dasha Ratha. Dasha Ratha means the chariot which can move in 10 directions. Which is the chariot? This human body itself. This human body can move in all the 8 directions around and upward and downward also. It can sit down, it can stand up. That means this body can move in 10 directions. Dasharatha has 3 wives. Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra. Who are these 3 wives? Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra. That is the 3 states. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Awakened state, dreaming state, sleeping state. These 3 states are the 3 wives of this particular body, Dasharatha. And this body, Dasharatha, has 4 sons, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. Who are these 4 sons? Manaschitta, Buddhi, Ahankara. The 4 Antakkaranas are the 4 sons of this particular body. Lakshmana, Lakshya Manaha Lakshmana. Mind is Lakshmana. Bharata, Bharata. Buddhi, intellect is Bharata. Shatrughna, Shatrughna, destroyer of enemies, is Chitta, the memory. Every night during sleep, memory gets cleansed, memory gets organized. I have spoken enough about memory management in my previous presentation. Who is Rama? Ramate iti Ramaha. Rama means the ego. In the awakened state, Rama is the ego. In the dreaming state, Rama is between the ego and the self. In the sleeping state, Rama himself is the self. So again in the awakened state, the self transforms itself into ego. Ramanya andre samanya alla. Who is Sita? Sita's father, Janaka. How did Janaka get Sita? When he was plowing the land below in a box, she got a female child. He got a female child, right? What is the meaning? Janaka means what? Wherever there is Jananendriya, that is Janaka. Swadhisthana Mooladhara Chakra. That is Janaka. Janaka means the producer in Sanskrita language. And Sita. What is the significance of Sita? Sita is Kundalini, which is present as a spiritual dormant force at Mooladhara. Now Rama lifts Shivadhanus. Rama lifts Shivadhanus means what? Which is that Shivadhanus? Shivadhanus is the Sushumna Nadi from Mooladhara till Sahasrara. What is Ayodhya? Na Yuddham iti Ayodhya. Where is this Ayodhya? Sahasrara Chakra itself is Ayodhya. Why? In the Sahasrara Chakra, there is no ego. In all the lower chakras, there is ego. Whenever, wherever there is ego, there is battle. Yuddha means battle. Whenever, wherever there is ego, there is this dilemma and there is this right and wrong and there is this battle. In the Sahasrara, there is no battle. Ayodhya. And what is Hanumanta? Hanuman. Mukhya Prana. What is the meaning of Hanuman? Hanuman is the Prana. Why Hanuman is Vayuputra? The air goes inside. When the air goes inside, the blood gets oxygenated and the blood produces prana, and the prana is pervading through all the nadis of this body. So Hanuman is Vayuputra. What is the meaning of Hanuman? Hanu means what? Hanu means two cheeks. Why the name Hanuman? The two cheeks are expanded. Then it is called Hanuman. What is the meaning of two cheeks being expanded? When the Kundalini rises up to Ajna Chakra, the Ajna Chakra expands around. That is the meaning of Hanuman. Sugriva means what? Griva means neck. Sugriva means good neck. What is the good neck? Vishuddha Chakra. Vali means what? Tail. Vali and Sugriva, two brothers who keep on fighting with each other. And Rama supports Sugriva. What is Sugriva? Vishuddha Chakra. What is Vali? Swadhisthana Chakra. Tail is below. At the Swadhisthana there is more ego. At the Vishuddha there is less ego. So Vali can never realize the self. What is meant by Ravana? Rautiti Ravanaha. Ravana, Vibhishana, Kumbhakarna. Three brothers. What does it mean? What does it mean? Three qualities. Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Kumbhakarna sleeps for 6 months in a year, wakes up next 6 months. What does it mean? It is as if 12 hours we are awakened, 12 hours we are sleeping. So that is Tamoguna, means laziness is indicated by Kumbhakarna. And Sattvaguna, good nature, is indicated by Vibhishana. And the Rajoguna, the arrogance, is indicated by Ravana. And why Ravana has 10 heads? What is the meaning of 10 heads? 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas. All these 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas are utilized by the arrogance. 5 sense organs and 5 motor organs are utilized by arrogant Ravana or the ego. That is when Ravana is depicted as having 10 heads. Why Ravana's wife's name is Mandodari? Mandodari means what? Manda means frog. Mandodari means somebody having the stomach as a frog. Udara means stomach. Manda means, Manduka means frog. So why that is called is Mandodari? The reason is when the Kundalini is at the lower side only, Kundalini is at the Swadhisthana and Mooladhara only. The energy will spread only at the bottom side as if a frog is sitting there with its body spread. That is why Ravana's wife's name is Mandodari. This way it can go on, my dear friends. Ramayana is the complete story of yoga. Rama and Sita had two sons. One is Lava, one is Kusha. What is the meaning of that? Kusha means grass. Lava means smallest possible particle. Now there is a great secret there. Why Rama's two sons were kept the name as Lava and Kusha? The first visible life form is plants. In the plants, the first manifested life form is grass. Because grass will not have seeds, grass will not have fruits, grass will not have flowers. Grass will grow on its own by spreading its roots below. That is how in the lawn you will have only grass, that particular grass which will have no seeds and no flowers. That is called Kusha. Now that is the first life form that is produced on this earth. Before that it was what? Before that it was a minute particle of life. That minute particle of life is called lava. Where was Valmiki staying? His hermitage was adjacent to a river. That river was called as Tamasa river. Tamasa means what? Darkness. What does the darkness indicate? Ignorance. Means all these human beings are adjacent to the river called darkness, which is ignorance. Now, adjacent to that, Valmiki has a hermitage where he gives a shelter to Sita. Now again, what is that? Mooladhara is ignorance. And from the Mooladhara, one river starts flowing upwards. That is the Sushumna river. And at the Mooladhara, it is ignorance. That is when Valmiki gives a shelter to Sita, Kundalini. He gives a shelter to Sita. And there, Lava and Kusha are born. The first life form is born with the minute God particle. Ramanya andre samanya alla. Ramayana means not ordinary poetry. It's a great poetry of Kundalini Yoga. Where, if you read Ramayana, you must have read Ramayana. Those who have not yet read Ramayana, you have to read Ramayana. In the Ramayana, from Ayodhya to Lanka, then from Lanka to Ayodhya, again from Ayodhya to Valmiki's ashrama. What is happening there? From Ayodhya to Lanka, Sita went. Again from Lanka to Ayodhya, Sita came. Again from Ayodhya to Valmiki's ashram, Sita went. Finally, Sita went back to earth. What does it mean? First from Ayodhya to Lanka. That means the divine energy went from Sahasrara to Mooladhara. Now, through the practice of yoga, it again came back from Mooladhara to Sahasrara. Rama went along with Lakshmana, along with the Hanumanta, along with Sugriva, all the way to Lanka, and he killed Ravana there, he killed Kumbhakarna there, he made Vibhishana as the king of Lanka there, and he brought Sita back. That way, from Sahasrara to Mooladhara, one journey, that's a natural journey. Now the journey of yoga is back from Mooladhara to Sahasrara. That is the practice of yoga. Now at the end, what will happen? Again, Sita will go back to Mooladhara because Kundalini will again reside in Mooladhara. That is the Maya which God has created. God has made human body in such a way that Kundalini will forcibly try to stay only at Mooladhara because that is its natural abode. That is what is called as, after Mooladhara, it is called as Swa Adhisthana. It is its natural abode. The one who realizes Ramayana, he will or she will realize the practice of yoga. Ramanya andre samanya alla swami. Ramayana is not ordinary, it is extraordinary. Ramayana is not just the story of Sita's kidnapping. Ramayana is not just the TV serial that you have been watching. Ramayana is the story of each and every human being, where inside the body, all these characters are already there. When Valmiki understood this, he wrote a great poetry called Ramayana. Ramayana has to be read and understood only in that way. Otherwise, simply constructing a temple at Ayodhya is not going to help much. It can only increase the ego of the so-called Hindus as such. But self-realization is not just for Hindus, not just for Muslims, not just for Christians, not just for Parsis, not just for Yehudis, not just for Buddhists, or not just for Jainis, or not just for Sikhs. Self-realization is for every human being to be achieved. That way this Ramayana is happening day in and day out inside every human body. Ramayana andre samanya alla. Let me proceed to the 25th sentence. Nerehore nodi guru guru ambodu bitre avane guru. Very funny sentence. Looking at the neighbors, if you stop becoming angry, then that person is actually called as a guru. This guru means people keep on murmuring bad words towards their people at the neighborhood, remaining angry always or remaining irritated always. Now he says, who is a real guru? The real guru is the one who stops doing this guru by looking at their neighborhood. In the Mankutimmana Kagga, Devagundappa says one great poem. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯೊಂದರರಗಳೆ ಸಾಲದೆಂದೇನು ವಿಧಿ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚಿನ ಕಿಡಿಯ ನೆಟ್ಟಿಹನು ನರರುಳ್ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬಿದ ತೋಳ ಮಲಗೀತು ನೀನವರ ದಿಟ್ಟಿಸುತ್ತ ಕರುಬುವೆಯೋ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. Devagundappa says, all other birds and animals are interested only in filling their stomach, but the human being keeps on remaining jealous over each other. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬಿದ ತೋಳ ಮಲಗೀತು. The wolf, when its stomach is full, it may sleep. But the person who looks at others, he will not sleep. He will remain jealous. ನೀನವರ ದಿಟ್ಟಿಸುತ್ತ ಕರುಬವೆಯೋ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. So Mukundur Swami says, whoever remains in harmony with their neighbors, whoever does not become jealous of each other, now that person can be called as a guru. 26th sentence. ಮುನಿ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮರ ಹತ್ತೋನು ಜಾರಿ ಬಿದ್ದಂಗೆ. If you talk to a sage, it is as if you are climbing to a tree and you will fall down. Why he says that way? What will people speak with the sage? If people speak with the sage, did you have breakfast? Sage will say, you give me breakfast. Now, if somebody asks a sage or a saint, did you have lunch? Then saint will say, I did not have lunch. You have to serve me lunch. Now, if you ask a sage or saint, did you take bath? Then the sage or saint will say, which bath? Inner bath or outer bath? Isn't it? In whichever way you talk to a realized person, a saint or a sage or a monk, in whatever way general talk is there, the sage or a saint will turn it into some other philosophical talk. It is as if mara hattonu jari biddange. If you climb a tree, you will fall down. So Mukundur Swami says, be careful when you talk to the sages and saints. In whatever way you talk a sentence, they will reverse it back to you with a different meaning. And you may not understand whatever they told, but they will definitely understand whatever you told. It is better that you remain away from the sages and saints. 27th sentence. ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 5 ಸಲ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮೈಲಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾರೋ? Somebody came to Mukundur Swami and he told about a particular Brahmin, and he told that Brahmin is particularly very clean. He takes bath 5 times in a day. Now, humorously, Mukundur Swami says, he sleeps for 5 times in a day. Why he becomes so much dirty in a day? ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 5 ಸಲ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮೈಲಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾರೋ? If he is taking 5 times a bath in a day, why is becoming so dirty in a day? It means exactly the same. The people who take 5 times bath in a day does not mean that they are very clean. They are showing off to others that they are trying to remain clean. Internally, they are dirty. When they want to show off that they are very clean, what does it mean? Internally, they are egoistic, they are showing off, they are dirty. That is why Mukundur Swami says, why they become so much dirty? Why should they take so much of a bath? 28th sentence. ಸಾವುಕಾರ ತಾವ ದುಡ್ಡಿರೋದು, ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ತಾವ ಸಿದ್ಧಿರೋದು ಎರಡು ಒಂದೇ. ಅವನಿಗೂ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಇವನಿಗೂ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಬ್ರಿಗೂ ಗರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಗರ ಬಿಟ್ರೇನೆ ಗುರು ನೋಡಪ್ಪ. Mukundur Swami says, with the rich man when the money is there, and with the sannyasi if the siddhi is there. Many sannyasis will have their own special accomplishments. That is called siddhi. He says, both are one and the same. If a rich man is having a money, and if a saint is having occult powers, both are one and the same. Why? Avanigu hankara bittilla, ivanigu hankara bittilla. The rich man who is having money, he also has not left his ego. The monk who is having occult power, he has also not left his ego. Okay, you will have to read this book to completely read the paragraph. I have only listed a small sentence there. There he further explains, ಸಾವುಕಾರ ಏನಾದಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವ್ನು ಇಳಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಏನಾದಾಗ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಸುಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. A rich man, when he becomes angry, he will say, how much of money may be spent, let me see you in the court. And when a saint or monk having this occult power, he will say, whatever may happen, I'll burn you into ashes now by my powers. That means both have not left their arrogance. ಅವನಿಗೂ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಇವನಿಗೂ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಬ್ರಿಗೂ ಗರ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಗರ ಬಿಟ್ರೇನೆ ಗುರು ನೋಡಪ್ಪ. Both have not left their ego. Only when they leave their ego, then only that person is called as a guru. 29th sentence. ಒಬ್ಬಮ್ಮ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ, 6 ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಆಡ್ದವಳೆ. ಯಾರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಆಯಮ್ಮ? ಆಯಮ್ಮ ಮಾಯಮ್ಮ ಕಣೋ. Swami says, one mother is there, that mother has delivered to 6 children. Now innocently somebody asks, ಯಾರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಆಯಮ್ಮ? Who is that mother who has delivered to 6 children? Now Swami says, Ayamma Mayamma kano. That mother is Maya. Maya has delivered to 6 children. Who are the 6 children? The 6 enemies. Shadripu, Shadvairi, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara. These are the 6 children for the mother called Maya. Maya means illusion. 30th sentence. Avrange avru, ivrange ivru, tanange tanu. When Mukundur Swami sits on a hillock, when he casually is relaxed, and he says, those people are like that, these people are like this, I am like me. Avrange avru, ivrange ivru, tanange tanu. Means, I cannot become like them. I cannot become like these people. They cannot become like me. I am me. They are they. You are you. Each one is living a life of a personal choice. Sometimes the personal choice may be due to personal ignorance, and the personal ignorance again may be due to collective ignorance. That's what I had called earlier as social Maya. 31st sentence. This he refers about sun. ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮೆರ್ನಲ್ಲ ಇವನು, ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ ಹೆಂಗಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಮುದುಕಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ. He is referring to sun, that in the afternoon, in what way he was showing his valor or arrogance or courage. Now look at the evening. He has become very old and he is setting down there. He just looks at the sun and he says how human being also lives this way. When the human being is in the middle age, he will show off as if human beings are very great on this earth. But the same people, when they become old, then they know they cannot do anything anymore, and that is when they become really very passive. So just looking at the sun, he says one metaphysical, philosophical sentence. ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮೆರ್ನಲ್ಲ ಇವನು, ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ ಹೆಂಗಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಮುದ್ಕಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ. 32nd sentence. When he keeps looking at the water bubbles near a stream of water, he simply says, ಇವ್ರು ಯಾರು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದ್ರು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು, ಯಾವನಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಲೆಕ್ಕಿಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲೋದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದವನು ಯಾವನು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದವನು ಯಾವನು, ಯಾವನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವನೇ ಕಣ. Just looking at the water bubbles adjacent to a stream of water, he says, who are these people? From where they came? Where they were born? Who knows? From where these water bubbles were born, from where they came, who knows? Actually, he is referring to human beings only. ಲೆಕ್ಕಿಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲೋದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. They come countless. When they go there, no one is there, no? Because these water bubbles all die after some time when they flow along the water. Same way as humans, they come countlessly. When some battle comes, when war comes, when some pandemic comes, when they go there, no one is there. So many are dying. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದವನು ಯಾವನು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದವನು ಯಾವನು? Who came here? Who was born there? ಯಾವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ? Who knows? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವನೇ ಕಣ. Whoever was born, whoever has died, all that is that one only. Whoever took the form of body and whoever is dying is that one self only. Self only became the body, and gradually self only is causing the death of the body. Water only is becoming the fish, and ultimately water only is making the fish to dissolve in water. Illi avanu ella avane kana. God himself became life. God himself became child inside the womb. God himself made this body to come out and to grow, and God himself will make this body to get aged and to die. Illi avanu ella avane kana. Whoever is born or whoever is coming here, whatever we say, everything is him only, self only, God only. Whatever is told in the Vedanta for pages together, Mukundur Swami says only in one sentence. Who will say that he was uneducated? Who will say that he was illiterate? Who will say that he was a village monk? I call Mukundur Swami as Avadhuta of Karnataka state. Last sentence, which I have chosen from the book. Hakkigalu, birds. ನೋಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಟ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಟ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡವರು. Look at them. They never were sitting there, nor they were standing there. They did not reach here, they did not go there. How they go? Simply looking at the birds in the evening when they are flying, he says, these birds are never attached to anything there. Somewhere they keep on flying, somewhere they sleep, somewhere they again fly. These birds are never attached to any particular tree. If one tree falls, they will sleep on some other tree. And if at all there's a threat in that tree, they will simply move on to some other tree and they'll keep on flying around. That means alantlilla ilmutlilla. They never were clinging to something else. They never reached any other particular place. These birds are not attached to anything. How free they are. He refers to human beings also, that you should also be like these birds. You should never get too much attached to whatever is that is created. Because one day you will have to leave all these just like that. So with these 33 sentences of my collection, now I feel so satisfied that somehow I repeated whatever Mukundar Swami had told many decades before. I feel myself fortunate that way. Now I am coming to the last set of this particular slides. Of course, this slide is not relevant to you people as I am conducting this online session. Still, let me show the rules of the class so that let you be aware. Now, the minimum duration of the yoga course is 1 year. This I am referring to the junior level course or the Ashtanga Yoga course. Its minimum duration is 1 year, where I conduct it every Sunday. Whosoever becomes absent for 3 consecutive classes without informing the teacher will automatically get dismissed from the course. This has been my system here, because otherwise I keep getting so many uncommitted people. Even in these sessions also, I have been seeing so many uncommitted people. There's no point in trying to change these people who remain uncommitted to whatever is being learned. Actually, they will not learn anything. They'll forget everything after some time. Why should I waste my time and energy on people who don't want to learn seriously? That is why I have been making these rules out of my own experience. So, actually, this is referring to the offline classes. Whosoever does not maintain more than 75% of the attendance in any module will automatically become non-eligible for attending the next module. Actually, in my offline classes, the duration of 1 year is divided into 4 modules. The first module is Hatha Yoga. The second module is Laya Yoga. The third module is Advanced Hatha Yoga and Laya Yoga. And the fourth module is Mantra Yoga. That is how I used to teach. And after this junior level of almost 1 year to 1.5 years, if people are still interested to continue the path of yoga, then there is a level called senior level, where only Raja Yoga is being discussed and practiced. That way, the 4 branches of yoga are being taught and learnt and practiced. So, this rule I had made specifically that people who are uncommitted, if they do not maintain the attendance of at least 75% in the first module, let them not come to second module at all. Otherwise, again, why will I waste my time and energy, and why will they waste their time and energy? They can find something else of their own interest. Instead of very heavily, unnecessarily, with a lot of pressure, why should they come to my classes? All the students have the complete freedom to ask any questions related to the subject under discussion. But when such question and answer session is going on, the other students should not become irritated. They should involve or they should witness. They should not be judgmental. This behavior is part of their sadhana. This is important. All the students have the complete freedom to ask any questions related to the subject under discussion. You are free to ask. Only thing is, you should not keep asking the same question and again, then I will get irritated. That's all. Otherwise, everybody has the freedom to ask any question that is related to the subject under discussion. Specifically, you should not ask irrelevant questions as such, because we are discussing only spiritual science. We are not interested in discussing other mundane things. Mundaka Upanishad says, Anya Vacho Vimunchatha. That means it says, Stop speaking of other things. Speak only of the spiritual self. So that is our goal, that is our principle. But when such question and answer session is going on, the other student should not become irritated. At times what happens is, question can be a single sentence, but whereas the answer can go long for next 5 to 10 minutes as such. Question can be very simple, or question can be very simple looking at that time. But the answer that comes out of the teacher's mouth can become very lengthy for that particular question. So when such question and session is going on, the other students should not become irritated. Many times students will judge each other, which they are not supposed to do. In the spiritual studies, the students should not judge each other. It is the teacher who is going to judge each of the students. Students have no freedom of judging each other. They all come with a common goal for self-realization only. So at that time, the other students should not become irritated. Either they should involve or they should witness. They should not be judgmental. These students should not judge their classmates also. They should not judge the teacher also. If they become judgmental over each and everything, in what way they will be able to lose their ego? Never that will be possible. So this behavior is part of their sadhana. I should tell you a story now. Yeah, still 5 minutes is there. Let me tell you a story of Maharshi Dhaumya. Maharshi Dhaumya had 2 disciples. One disciple's name was Aruni and the other disciple's name was Upamanyu. So, one day Dhaumya told Aruni that, my dear child, go to the field. It's a rainy season now and we are growing the paddy. Just check whether in the paddy field, whether the water is enough there. Heavy rain had come here and I am listening to some water flowing sound. Go and check there. So Aruni went there. When Aruni went there, evening was over, night was over. Aruni did not come back. Maharshi Dhaumya was under tension. What happened to my disciple Aruni? He did not come back. Now from his hermitage, Dhaumya called Aruni, my dear child Aruni, where are you? And from the middle of the paddy field, Aruni started shouting, oh Guruji, I am here. And Dhaumya said, come back, what are you doing there? And Aruni is saying, I cannot come back, Guruji, I cannot come back. Now Dhaumya, along with his other disciples, took a lamp with him and he went all the way wherever Aruni was there. Now Aruni was lying adjacent to the paddy field and Dhaumya asked him, what are you doing? Now Aruni said, Guruji, you told that I should check the water in the paddy field. When I came here, there was this water leaking from a muddy part. I tried to cover up that muddy part, but I could not push enough mud there. So instead, I am lying down there so that water will not go away from the paddy field. Dhaumya, he embraced his disciple Aruni. And along with other disciples, Maharshi Dhaumya picked up some more mud and covered that portion of the paddy field. Afterwards, he lifted Aruni and he gave him a nice bath. And then he told, I did not tell you to lie down here. I only told you to check and then come back. You could have come and told me that water is leaking there. Later on, we would have come and covered that paddy field. But Aruni told, Guruji, I did not want that water to get wasted. So I thought, let me lie down here whole night such that in the paddy field there will be enough water. Now Dhaumya told, my dear child, don't do this again. You may become sick later on. From then onwards, Dhaumya called this Aruni as Uddalaka Aruni. Uddalaka means the one who stayed there so that the water will stay in the paddy field. Uddalaka. That way he was called Uddalaka Aruni. Now Aruni is of one type. Dhaumya had one more disciple called Upamanyu. This Upamanyu was not as intelligent as Aruni. And this Upamanyu was a foodie. Foodie in the sense, this Upamanyu could never remain hungry. And he was always eating heavily in the Dhaumya's place, and because of which Upamanyu was becoming stout and stout every year. Upamanyu was not learning much about the Vedic scriptures, but he was eating sumptuously and he was becoming stout. But otherwise he was a polite boy. This was in contrast with whatever Aruni was. But Dhaumya treated both of them in the same fashion. Anyway, when this Upamanyu was becoming every year thicker and thicker, Dhaumya told to Upamanyu one day that, my dear child, start eating less and stop eating more, start eating less and start studying more. Upamanyu told, Guruji, when I stop eating, I will not have energy to study, Guruji. I need enough food, Guruji. Only then I can study, Guruji. Now Dhaumya told Upamanyu, my dear child, listen to me. If you keep on eating stomach full, you will feel sleepy. When you feel sleepy, you will not be able to study more. So, reduce your food content from today. Instead of stomach full, you eat stomach half. And Dhaumya told to his wife, from today onwards, you don't serve full plate to Upamanyu, you serve only half plate. And Dhaumya's wife agreed. Next day onwards, Dhaumya's wife was serving only half plate to Upamanyu. And Dhaumya thought, now Upamanyu will reduce his weight, gradually he will become more active and he will involve in more studies. But it did not happen. Upamanyu was not losing his weight. Now Dhaumya thought, his food content has been reduced, still Upamanyu is not reducing the weight, even after 6 months or 1 year. What is happening? And Upamanyu is not improving in his studies also. One day Dhaumya called Upamanyu and asked him, my dear child, I have told you to eat half quantity of food. Still you are not reducing your weight. You are remaining stout only and you are not involved in studies also. My dear child, what is happening? Upamanyu innocently told, Guruji, here Guru Mata feeds only half quantity of food, but I remain hungry for the remaining half of my stomach. And I go to cow shed and I simply drink milk there. I go to cow shed, somehow I collect milk from the cows and I drink the milk there. Now Dhaumya said to Upamanyu, my dear child, don't do that. What I wanted was that your physical weight will be reduced and you will become more active and you will study well. That has been my intention. My dear child, don't do that. And if you keep drinking milk, I'll tell my wife again to reduce the food content to 25%. And Dhaumya told to his wife, from now on, you feed only 25% to him because anyhow, he is drinking the milk also there. Other disciples who are taking care of the cow shed, that don't allow too much of milk is not available. So what I do is, after everything is done, in the cow shed only I remain for some time, and when those milk bubbles are there, that foam is there, that milk's foam, I simply take it out and I swallow, and I keep on doing it whenever I am free, because I am hungry. Guruji, I cannot remain hungry, Guruji. Then finally, Dhaumya gave up the efforts. Dhaumya told to his wife, from now on, feed him well, at least let him be happy that way. Okay. This way in Maharshi Dhaumya's monastery or hermitage, there used to be two different types of students. One was Aruni, one was Uddhalaka. In the same way, even I have seen in my classes different types of people with the different intellectual abilities, different age groups, different cultures, and both the genders. So, in such a case, students should not be judgmental. This behavior is part of their sadhana. With this slide, let me end the session for today. Tomorrow is Thursday. We will meet again on Friday.